The night was eerily quiet, the kind of silence that made you second-guess every sound. Jake had just finished a long day at work and was eager to collapse into bed. His mind was so preoccupied with exhaustion that he didn't realize one crucial mistake. He had left the front door wide open. The wind howled through the trees, and the moonlight cast long shadows across the living room floor. Jake had fallen asleep almost instantly, oblivious to his mistake. It wasn't until he heard a faint creaking sound that his body jerked awake. His heart pounded as he turned to glance at the bedside clock, 12:17 a.m. The noise wasn't part of a dream. It was real. Jake sat up, straining to listen. At first, there was nothing but the occasional rustling of the wind outside. Then, another sound, a soft but deliberate footstep on the wooden floor. His breath caught in his throat. He reached for his phone, but in his panic, he fumbled and knocked it onto the carpet. His pulse raced. Who was in his house? He had no pets, no roommates, no reason for anyone to be there. Forcing himself to move, Jake silently slipped out of bed and crept toward his bedroom door. Peeking into the hallway, he saw a shadow stretching across the floor. Someone was inside. Swallowing his fear, he stepped back, searching for anything he could use to defend himself. His eyes landed on a baseball bat leaning against the wall. He gripped it tightly, his palms sweaty, and took a slow, deep breath. With measured steps, he moved toward the living room. The front door was ajar, swaying slightly. A cold chill ran down his spine. Had they just entered? Or had they been inside for a while? Suddenly, another creak. He turned sharply to see a tall figure in the dim light. His stomach dropped. The stranger was facing away from him, standing unnervingly still, as if listening. "Who's there?" Jake's voice was shaky but firm. The figure turned slowly. His breath caught in his throat as he met a pair of hollow, dark eyes. The man was dressed in black, his face partially obscured by shadows. For a moment, they just stared at each other, neither of them moving. Then, without warning, the intruder bolted. He sprinted toward the door and disappeared into the night before Jake could react. The only sound left was the pounding of his own heart. Jake rushed to the door, slamming it shut and locking it. His hands trembled as he dialed 911, barely able to get the words out. When the police arrived, they searched the house thoroughly but found no sign of forced entry, only the open door Jake had neglected to close. He didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The thought that someone had been inside his home while he was sleeping sent a shiver through his spine. The officers told him he was lucky, that the intruder had likely been startled and chose to flee rather than confront him. The following day, Jake installed security cameras, added an extra lock to the door, and made sure to double-check the locks before going to bed. The incident left a deep impact on him, a reminder that even small mistakes can lead to terrifying consequences. Weeks passed, but the fear lingered. Every creak of the house made him tense up. He found himself waking up at odd hours, checking the locks multiple times before he could sleep. His once peaceful home now felt tainted, a place where his sense of security had been breached. He confided in his friend, Mark, who suggested he get a security system installed. "You never know, man. Whoever it was might come back," Mark warned, handing him a pamphlet for a reputable security company. Jake nodded, knowing he couldn't take any chances. He scheduled an installation, and within days, his home was outfitted with motion sensors, alarms, and cameras covering every entry point. He hoped it would help ease his anxiety, but deep down, the feeling of vulnerability remained. One night, about a month after the break-in, the motion detector near the back door went off. Jake's phone buzzed with an alert, and his heart leapt into his throat. He opened the security app and saw a blurry figure moving in the shadows. His breath quickened as he reached for the phone to call the police. He kept his eyes glued to the screen, watching as the figure hesitated near the door before disappearing into the night. The police arrived swiftly, but again, the intruder was gone. This time, they found muddy footprints leading up to the back door. Whoever it was had come back. "This isn't random," one of the officers told him. "They might be watching a routine. Stay vigilant, and if you notice anything unusual, let us know immediately." Jake didn't need to be told twice. He adjusted his schedule, varied his habits, and made sure to never leave his home vulnerable again. The thought of someone watching him, studying his movements, sent shivers down his spine. Despite all precautions, the fear didn't go away. Every night, he lay in bed listening, his ears attuned to every small sound. Sleep became difficult, his body always on edge, anticipating something that might never happen again, or could happen at any moment. Then one evening, as he was reviewing the security footage, he saw something that made his blood run cold. A face, partially obscured, peering through his living room window. It was the same intruder. Jake didn't hesitate. He called the police immediately, reporting the incident with all the footage as evidence. This time, they took it more seriously, setting up patrols in the area and advising him to stay with someone for a few nights. He took their advice, staying at his sister's house while officers monitored his home. Days later, they apprehended a suspect lurking near his backyard. The relief washed over Jake, but it didn't erase the trauma of the experience. Even after the arrest, he never truly felt safe again. What happened when he forgot to close the door at midnight? A nightmare that nearly spiraled into something far worse. From that night on, he made sure to never let his guard down again.